to just close your eyes, relax, rest in the presence, and hold space.
Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari. 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 Namo
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online satsang. The Flowering Heart Satsang is not like some organization people belong to. We come from different teachers, teachings, spiritual traditions, religious backgrounds. What we share in common is that we're experiencing awakening and transformation of consciousness, the flowering of our hearts in oneness with the divine. And that's what draws us together. People join us from all over the world, from many countries and continents, and you're very welcome here tonight. Joining together with others on the path of transformation in consciousness is essential. It's not just a recommendation. We can only go so far by ourselves. We need to join together. When we do that, when two or three who are on the path of awakening and flowering of the heart come together, we have a satsang, which means in Sanskrit, community of truth. Literally, it's a spiritual community of people who are transforming in consciousness. So when we do that, when we join together with others on the path, we find out that we have more in common with them than people in our own temples or churches or ashrams who haven't been experiencing this awakening. And our strength, our spiritual strength, and our interior silence is multiplied exponentially when we join together. So again, glad you're here. If you're on Facebook Live, please give us a like or a love or some other emoji that suits you. We go in and see your name at the end, and we give you special blessings and hugs. If you're watching on Vimeo, you can just leave your name in the chat and say hi, and we'll also send you hugs and blessings. All through the satsang tonight, and every time we do a satsang, we are holding the intention to flow out to you what we call the Flowering Heart Blessing, Hridaya Vikasa Diksha, if you'd like to say it in Sanskrit. It's something the Lord showed us, about 10 years ago. Suzanne and I have been involved in various transmissions of spirit, grace, light for decades. And we were very much involved in another transmission 10 years ago when the Divine said, start sharing this one. And we just felt this amazing light come pouring down into our hearts, and our hearts just exploding with unconditional love like a supernova star. And the Divine said, share that one. And don't charge for it, it's free. And tell people when they've received it, they're initiated, activated to be able to share it themselves. All they need to do is hold that intention, invite the Divine to pour it through you, and that's what happens. What's the blessing about? Well, it is divine presence. It is enlightened awareness. It is unconditional love and grace. And it catalyzes in the one who receives it the flowering of the heart and awakening into higher states of consciousness. So you're soaking in it right now. If you enjoy the presence, if you enjoy the grace that we're sharing, then we ask you to join us in holding the intention to send the Flowering Heart Blessing to everyone who joins us tonight and to everyone who will view this video recording at any time in the future, years in the future, because the blessing, this transmission, is spirit. It's more than energy. It's spirit, and spirit is always 100% present here and now, unbounded by time or separation or distance in space. So when we hold that intention, someone who watches this recording, they feel the same thing we feel here tonight. Anything else I should have mentioned?
No.
I don't think so. So, at this point, we like to open it to questions and answers about the spiritual journey. We all would like more clarity, more insight, deeper understanding of certain things that we encounter on the spiritual path. And this is a great place to ask those questions because we know a few things, but we always open ourselves to the divine presence, and inspiration is poured out to us and through us to you. So when you ask your questions, even though all of us have a different journey, they parallel one another in amazing ways, and everyone here will benefit from your question and the answer that it elicits. To give you some time to ask that still small voice on the inside what you might ask to contribute to the satsang tonight, I'm going to share 12 quotes to help improve your emotional intelligence. I draw these brief articles and quotes from a website I enjoy called inspiringquotes.com. And there's a group of authors from all over the place who write these brief articles on relevant topics and then share quotes from inspired people throughout history that shed light on those topics. So tonight's article and quotes were gathered by Bennett Kleinman. Bennett is a staff writer at Optimism, as well as a freelance comedy writer. He's based in New York City. And thank you for this, Bennett. So here's what he writes about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence can be defined as our ability to interpret emotions in a constructive way. People with lower emotional intelligence may react without properly assessing the potential consequences of their actions, often leading to unwanted outcomes. Those who have learned to process emotions in a healthier way, however, can enjoy an enhanced quality of life and better the lives of those around them as well. When someone has high emotional intelligence, it means they're competent in evaluating the entire range of human emotions: sadness, happiness, anger, love, anxiety, excitement, gratitude, etc. It all comes down to identifying how we and others are feeling and knowing how to proceed in accordance with our estimation. Examples of high emotional intelligence include being able to let go of mistakes when nothing more can be done, showing empathy when a friend needs someone to support them, and embracing change when it's time for a new chapter in your life. Perfection may be impossible when it comes to emotional intelligence, but we should always be striving to improve, as this can only lead to a more rewarding life full of rich emotional experiences. Here are 12 quotes from some wise individuals that can help you on your journey. Here we go. Use pain as a stepping stone, not a campground. Alan Cohen. Feelings can't be ignored, no matter how unjust or ungrateful they seem. Anne Frank. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms: to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Viktor Frankl. Suppressing the feelings only makes it harder to let them go. Expression is the opposite of depression. Edith Eger. Empathy does not equal agreement. Chris Voss. How to react emotionally is a choice in any situation. And those cumulative choices can make or break your chances for well-being. Judith Orloff. Everyone must be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. James chapter 1 verse 19. James, the brother of Jesus. You are, after all, what you think. Your emotions are the slaves to your thoughts, and you are the slave to your emotions. Elizabeth Gilbert. It is very important to understand that emotional intelligence is not the opposite of intelligence. It is not the triumph of heart over head. It is the unique intersection of both. David Caruso. You can conquer almost any fear if you'll only make up your mind to do so. For remember, fear doesn't exist anywhere except in the mind. Dale Carnegie. It takes something more than intelligence to act intelligently. Fyodor Dostoevsky. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. Robert Frost. Some interesting, some of them actually seem to contradict each other. Mm-hmm. Some said, you know, emotion just is and it can't be denied and you just have to flow with it basically and maybe not react. And then other quotes suggested that you have a choice. I don't know. I think emotions are pretty spontaneous. They can be conditioned over time, which is why someone said that the decisions that we make, how we react over time,
right,
can make us or break us and create patterns that run our lives. Want to add anything?
No.
Okay. So back to questions and answers. Feel free to leave any questions you want at Vimeo. I check there throughout the broadcast. Sí, hermoso verte y compartir, Veronica. Veronica. Tristan writes, my first question, I feel disconnected to my guru a bit by my actions and habits. Do you think my guru has turned its back on me because of my bad boy nature? Thank you, God bless. You actually asked this question a few weeks back, I believe. And no, your guru, if your guru, and I don't know who it is a true guru, he or she will never turn their back on you because of your bad boy nature. However, it sounds like maybe you turn your back on your guru sometimes by yielding to your self-centered nature, which is in the process of being purified and transformed on the spiritual journey. So, a guru is a way shower. And it's a special relationship. And it's not something you can destroy by making a mistake. No matter how many mistakes you make, the love is unconditional.
Unless it's not the right guru for you.
Well, I said if it's truly your guru, and it's a true guru. But maybe that isn't your guru. Generally, a relationship with a guru leads to deeper and deeper connection with that spiritual guru. And also a deep motivation to let go of bad habits and be transformed. So if that isn't happening, then I wonder about the guru relationship there. But I've known some gurus that have put up with some rascals over the years, and it's just always amazed me the love for a disciple that a true guru has. Okay. Tristan also says, question 2, you mentioned one time there are some strange things in the astral realms and outside our fishbowl. Our fishbowl called Earth. Do you think that new generations are bound to connect to those things because they have no true school spiritual teachers? Connect to the strange things on the astral plane? Well, that is happening. But there are more good spiritual teachers than I've ever seen in my lifetime. So, yes, when young people don't have true spiritual teachers and they experiment with very powerful spiritual or mystical techniques, use substances, plant medicine, ayahuasca, DMT, other mind-altering substances, it opens the door very powerfully to the astral realm unless the spirit is focused very solidly and singly on the light of God. So there's a lot of that going on, people opening up to the astral realms and even getting books and trying to astral travel on their own and explore. And I don't recommend that. Actually, on the journey of awakening, usually the teaching is ignore that astral stuff. Keep your soul, your spiritual eyes set on the light and go straight for the light to merge with the divine. Don't be distracted by these infinite worlds. I mean, the astral planes are vast and varied, and there are all kinds of beings that you don't know anything about. And some of them are nice and some of them aren't, but it's a distraction on the spiritual journey, honestly, that people find fascinating. Oh, I can astral travel and get out of my body? Yeah, but why? The real challenge is to be here now and connect directly to the divine presence and merge with the divine, which we'll be talking about in our cosmic communion at the end of the month. But that's another subject. So it is, I think if you're going to be using powerful yogic, spiritual sadhanas, methods, some of them are very powerful. If you're going to be using indigenous practices and substances that come from the shamanic traditions, I think it is really important to have true guides. Hi, Stacy. Michael Christopher says, I've had a surge of energy, mostly in the third chakra, of anxiety and excitement. It'll go up to the third eye at times. Any idea what is going on? Well, generally, when you have like a more full Kundalini awakening, or the initial powerful Kundalini awakening, it's felt very strongly in the third chakra. The third chakra is the chakra of power and control. It's called Manipura in Sanskrit, Manipura chakra, which means literally in Sanskrit, city of jewels. And the color is bright yellow, and it's in the navel solar plexus area, and it is the power center, and prana surges through that chakra. When the Kundalini is awakened, sometimes people feel just this tremendous pressure, tremendous vibration in the third chakra. And if we find that uncomfortable and we resist it at all, then we would experience some anxiety. So a mixture of anxiety and excitement would accompany a release of tremendous energy in the third chakra. In your case, we shall see. But it sounds like a good thing. The main thing when you feel all that energy in the third chakra is to let go. But to let go up into the presence of God. and not try to control it, not try to suppress it. Don't get scared of it. That's why people throw up on roller coasters. Because sometimes when people are like going over a big fall, they experience nausea in their bellies. And that's the third chakra, feeling a loss of a sense of power and control. So if you just let go, like Suzanne on a roller coaster, she just throws her hands up and goes into ecstasy. She has this big grin on her face in ecstasy while people around her are like holding on, white knuckles, holding on to the bars. And the difference is she's surrendering to that surge of energy. And other people are scared of it and fighting it. So that applies to a lot of yogic experiences and shamanic experiences where there's a tremendous amount of power that's released. Generally, it's not an all-the-time thing. I've experienced it at certain points in the journey when the release of the Kundalini was more and fuller and more powerful. When I first had my Kundalini awaken, later when I received Shaktipat from Swami Baba Muktananda, wow. Yeah, my solar plexus, it felt like I had a vice grip on the front and back of my body, and it just got tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter until it felt like my third chakra was crushed, and my heart chakra, which is just above it, exploded into infinity. And I heard the angelic choir, and I went into samadhi, and it was a wonderful experience, but it was preceded by this, am I dying? Am I having a heart attack? I mean, I felt that in my solar plexus, but this is getting too much, and I was just like, I've described it sometimes as having an elephant standing on my third chakra. But it literally pushed the Kundalini energy up from the power chakra into the heart chakra and the the higher chakras above it. So, bravo, sounds like a good thing. Michael goes on to say it's been pretty overwhelming. Yeah, well, yeah. Now I'm messing with you, but we do know the mantra to bring the Kundalini back down. We could probably stop it for you. But, come on, Michael. You're brave. So just let it go. And yeah, it is overwhelming because that Kundalini energy is beyond our chi. Or our prana, our vital energy. It is divine, transformational energy. In India, it's the energy of the goddess. In China, it's the dragon, the awakening dragon. All these images of something that's just beyond us and transforming. So, yeah, that feels overwhelming. Just enjoy the ride. Let go. Do what Suzanne does on a roller coaster. Throw up your hands and just let it go.
There's always slipping into our hearts and asking for grace to handle all this and just let go and let God.
In those moments when it's really strong in the solar plexus, I haven't been able to just gather my wits in my heart, like that. But yeah, that would be the thing.
But that would be the goal. That would be the most surrendered method to that, to alleviate the immediate symptoms that you're feeling of anxiety and excitement. So just remember there's always grace. There's always grace to help us through that, and we're never given more than we can handle. Just don't overthink it, because when we start analyzing it, getting worried about it, fearing it, that's when things get even more intense and those feelings get more intense. So remember to ask for grace from the Divine Presence.
Yep. Stacy writes, I 100% relate to patterns being able to make or break our lives, especially the ones I am unaware of. Thanks for the thought-provoking quotes. Exactly. It is the unconscious patterns that tend to rule our lives and cause suffering. And at a certain point in my journey, those unconscious patterns began to emerge with some force into consciousness. That's what we want to happen. We want them, once they become conscious, well, in a sense, you're free. At least you have the freedom now to not be controlled by that pattern and to undo it and replace it with constructive patterns. But we bring patterns into these lives from family karma, from previous lives. A lot of developmental psychologists would assert that many, if not most of us, are dominated by behavioral patterns that were instilled in our first 6 years of life, when we were pre-rational, and just little experiences could leave a deep mark in us. We ask a parent for something and they say no. And at that point in our life, our parents are the divine. They're the closest thing most of us know to a higher power is mom and dad. So, if you ask mom for an ice cream cone right before dinner and she says no, you could internalize the decision that the divine mother is going to withhold the divine ice cream from you. Now, you wouldn't even remember that experience. You were like 3 years old. But it can create a pattern that continues to work in the unconscious. So we're just full of that stuff. Most of the programs for misery are in place by the time we're 7 years old, approximately.
I think too, when starting to understand that, I did like that quote that talked about, all the decisions that we're making are basically leading to the future, to very loosely paraphrase it, but that one, I've been actually sitting here mulling that over and contemplating that, especially after Michael said, the best we can do is really be here now. And I think that the more that we can gently return to that state of consciousness of not wandering, not thinking too much, overthinking things that are happening to us, not judging, criticizing, blaming, and just letting the mind run rampant, the more that we can show up in each moment as present as we can be and as connected to the divine, then we're going to be making decisions from a higher place of thinking and functioning than we would be if we're just reacting from programs and charges. So I think, as we grow on the spiritual path, we get more and more aware of how we are in a program or in a charge, but we also realize that we have the ability in each moment to check in, and we also know that basic things are a good way to do things and maybe not the best way to do things. And all of those decisions that we make, if we can stop ourselves and ask for the grace, for the wisdom, for how to respond in any given moment, we're building those stepping stones for tomorrow. And it's a habit, like Michael said. We're recreating these habits into a way that aligns with the spiritual studying we've been doing, and consciousness, and the deeper connection with the divine presence. So it's really important that we're becoming more aware of our programs that are running us, but also really important to become more aware of how important each and every moment is, and all the interactions that we have with people, because that's all going to lead up to how we are tomorrow and the next day and the next day.
So that quote that touched on all this was by Judith Orloff. And Judith wrote, how you react emotionally is a choice in any situation. And those cumulative choices can make or break your chances for well-being. Cumulative effect. Mm-hmm. Now, I know from early on in my journey, there were emotions that would come up with great force, and I didn't seem to find the freedom to choose how I reacted. And the more I tried to exert control the more I lost it. It was because of things that happened in my early childhood, but I would experience these emotion come up with great force, and I would go, this is not appropriate, I will not act on that. And so I would like immediately try to, that's where the third chakra, the power and control center, comes in. And I would try to wrestle it down, and it would seem like that emotion would possess me. And I'd act out going, what are you doing? I don't want to be doing this. There were times I wondered, am I possessed? Well, no, only being possessed by an emotional charge that I was feeding by my resistance. So what Judith said is how you react emotionally is a choice, but not what you feel emotionally. So where it begins to access the ability to choose is to, when that feeling emerges, to feel it, not to resist it, not to be afraid of it, not to try to control the feeling. All suffering psychologically results from the resistance to feeling something. That's it. Something in the present moment. It's not, we're not suffering because of our resistance to feel something 10 years ago. It's something in this moment. And so if we're successful in our resistance, we shove it into the unconscious, where it festers within us. And life is very faithful to come along and trigger those buried emotional charges. Each time they're triggered and they come up, we go, oh no, there it is again, when we should go, oh boy, there it is. This is a chance to embrace it and feel it without judgment, without resistance. When you fully experience an emotional charge, it discharges. When you seek to suppress it and control it, it draws on, it gains in energy. Even if it gets shoved into the unconscious, it will reemerge surely. Because in the process of awakening, everything that's in the unconscious, sooner or later, becomes conscious, till everything is awareness. So that's the balance between the things we've heard about your choice, how you're going to react. That's a muscle you build. It used to amaze me when I first started spending time in India. There were these monks who you could throw a barb at them, an emotional barb or an insult or some very difficult energy, and they would just take a breath and just relax into it for a minute. They weren't in a rush. And I could see, it was so odd. I was used to when I threw something at somebody, they'd get all involved in the dance. But you'd throw something at one of these monks and they were just like, embrace it, sink into peace. And then in a moment or two, they would speak from a place of clarity from their center. And all of us noticed it that hung out with them and went, wow, that's cool. How do you get that? And so many of the processes we learned in India were exactly to learn how to gain the freedom to choose how you're going to react in any situation. Interesting stuff tonight, all that.
Very.
Let's see, what else? John Lewis said, my spiritual experience started at the third chakra and then down and out and then up. It can go all kinds of different ways, but it is very common when a spiritual awakening that involves the Kundalini occurs, it will be felt very, very powerfully in the third chakra. And when I've been in those states, I've experienced it in India, I've experienced it with the Chinese, experienced it with Baba Muktananda. It felt like I'm breathing pure divine energy through my third chakra, through my belly. And when it's really strong, you don't have to breathe external air. It's like you're breathing through your umbilical cord. It's like you inhale, and your whole being, your body is just filled with this energy. and you're breathing like an embryo in its mother's womb. It's just remarkable stuff. Getting together and sharing these feelings and experiences is really a lot of fun. For me. I think it is for John too. Stacy writes, thank you. Here's to embracing the present.
Beautiful.
Well, I think that's the call to move into a deeper state. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes and invoke within yourself the divine presence. You should know the fullness of the Godhead, the divine presence in all of its fullness dwells in you. It's not like each of us 8 billion humans has 8 billion drops of the divine. The divine lives fully in each and every one of us at the center of our hearts. The mind can't understand that. But that's why I said at the beginning, Spirit is fully present everywhere, all at once, simultaneously. This presence that dwells in you loves you beyond your wildest imagination. More than mother's love for her beloved child, more than any human emotion can grasp, is the love of the divine for you. In spite of all of your flaws, perceived weaknesses, the divine loves you just as you are. And this divine presence knows everything you've done and everything you're going to do. And it just wants to embrace you and draw you back home into the center of your being, into oneness with your true essence, your source, which is the divine itself. No effort is required. Just let go. Let go and yield yourself to the gravitational pull of love, the gravitational pull of God at the center of your being, the celestial sun within you. Just let go. The divine knows everything you need, everything you want, everything you could ask for before you could ask. So now just let go and yield yourself. And just begin to soak up, drink up, breathe in the blessing of the presence that is pouring out to you. It will fill your heart with joy and light, illumination. It will fill your soul, your mind, your emotions with clearing and healing and divinely inspired ideas and patterns and thoughts and emotions. It will flood your physical body with healing, melt away disease and pain. It will flood your relationships with healing and grace and transformation. It will shine through your life like a lighthouse to give light to all around you and ripple out to infinity. Just give your consent and let go. Soak it up. You can't receive too much. It's an unlimited supply. It's pouring out to you right now. It's okay to be a glutton for God. As long as you pour out to those in need what you've received, what's pouring out to you, let it flow through you to others. Imagine us sitting in a circle together with our eyes closed. Lift up your hands with your palms open and let us invite the divine to pour the flowering heart blessing through us, through each of us, to all the others seated with us in the circle. It's flowing back to us through all of them. Let the grace pour through you out to others in need. As the blessing of divine grace flows through you to others who need peace, healing, light, as it flows through you to them, it transforms you. It really is more blessed to give than to receive. And both can happen at the same time when you open yourself to be a vessel, an instrument of blessing. Imagine the earth in the middle of our circle. And let us take a special intention tonight that the divine would flow through us, through our intentions, to extinguish the fires of war and violence and hatred throughout the earth. Throughout the earth. May the grace of divine love flood every human heart and melt away the hurt, the anger, the hatred, the violence. And flood each and every heart with the peace of God that passes all understanding. Peace to Israel, Palestine, Iran. Peace to Ukraine, to Russia. Peace where armed conflicts are taking place in Africa and throughout the world, wherever there is violence. From single acts of violence to gang violence to wars. May wars cease to the end of the earth. Blindness of separation between people melt into a global awakening into oneness. Oneness within ourselves, with each other, with the planet, with the divine itself. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Now we invite you to just relax and rest your hands in your lap somewhere and open your eyes. Begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me. Keep gazing at least one of our eyes and don't look away. As we begin the light meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of the divine presence. Grace, love, light for you. And it floods through every pore of our being. Especially, it streams through our eyes, the windows of the soul. As you keep gazing at one of our eyes, any of our eyes, the light streams out through our eyes, in through your eyes, into your spiritual heart of hearts, causing the light, awakening, and the fires of divine love to burn brighter and brighter and brighter within you. There's nothing for you to do, but just keep looking and receiving. as the grace settles within us. Meditating as long as it feels nice to you. Or you could find a place to lie down in Shavasana. That's to lie on your back comfortably with your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides with the palms open, turned upward, and just let yourself dissolve in gratitude in the presence. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we meet again, know that the divine in us beholds the divine in you, and we bow to you.
Namaste.
Namaste.